Imagine finding a small box in the middle of nowhere, just lying there, half buried in the dirt, soaked by rain and forgotten by time. Inside, it wasn't money or treasure, but something that would haunt America for decades. A young boy, naked, bruised, lifeless, wrapped in a simple blanket and stuffed into a cardboard box. No name, no clues, no witnesses. Just silent sand, a mystery that refuses to die. This wasn't a movie scene. It happened. February 1957, Philadelphia, USA, a city known for liberty, suddenly frozen in fear. Detectives called him the boy in the box. The world called him America's unknown child, and what followed was one of the strangest, most heartbreaking mysteries in U.S. history. Over 60 years later, we still don't know who killed him, or even who he was. But what if I told I knew DNA technology, hidden clues, and long-forgotten evidence are finally bringing the truth to light? Because behind this innocent face lies a story darker than anyone could imagine. So don't blink, don't skip, because in the next few minutes, you're about to uncover the real story of the boy in the box. When police arrived at the scene that cold February morning, they couldn't believe what they saw. The cardboard box had once contained a baby bassinet, but inside lay the body of a boy around 4 to 6 years old. His blonde hair was crudely chopped, some patches even missing. His small body was covered in bruises old and new, telling a story of pain, neglect, and something far more sinister. Detectives noted that his hands and feet were wrinkled, as if they'd been soaked in water before he was placed in that box. Someone had washed him. Someone had cared enough to clean him, but not enough to save him. As word spread, newspapers splashed the headline, "The boy in the box, who is he?" Philadelphia went into shock. Posters of the boy's face were plastered everywhere on telephone poles, in grocery stores, even mailed with gas bills. Police printed over 400,000 flyers, desperate for someone, anyone, to recognize him, but no one came forward. No missing child report matched his description. It was as if he'd never existed. The detectives searched relentlessly. They traced the box to a department store called J.C. Penney. It had contained a bassinet sold for just $7.50, but dozens of those boxes had been sold across Philadelphia. The blanket he was wrapped in was a cheap cotton flannel, mass-produced across the country. There was no serial number, no unique tag, nothing that could lead them closer. The boy's fingerprints were taken, but no record existed. Even his teeth, examined carefully by experts, showed signs of malnutrition, but no match in dental records. It was as if this child had lived and died completely unseen. Weeks turned into months, and the case went cold. But not everyone gave up. A man named Remington Bristow, a medical examiner's investigator, became obsessed with the mystery. For years, he poured his life into finding the truth. He spent his own money chasing leads, even setting up a display at fairs and crime conventions. Bristow once visited a foster home near the crime scene after hearing rumors of abuse. He believed the boy might have been a secret child from that home, an unwanted burden, who met a tragic fate. The foster mother's own daughter looked eerily similar to the boy, and she had once owned a blanket similar to the one found in the box. But police could never prove any connection. Every lead ended in the same place, nowhere. As time passed, the case turned from a local tragedy to a haunting legend. The boy in the box became America's unknown child, the ghost story whispered across generations. People claimed to have seen visions of him. Some even confessed falsely, desperate for attention or forgiveness. But each confession fell apart under investigation. For decades, his small grave in Philadelphia bore a simple headstone: Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy, and beneath its silence. Then, more than half a century later, technology caught up with the mystery. In 2019, investigators exhumed his body once again, this time with one goal: extract his DNA. The samples were degraded, fragile, nearly gone. But forensic experts worked tirelessly. Through genetic genealogy, the same method that identified the Golden State Killer, they built a family tree. And after decades of dead ends, the impossible happened. In late 2022, the boy finally had a name: Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Born in 1953, only 4 years old when he was killed. For the first time in 65 years, America's unknown child was no longer unknown. But the revelation raised even more questions. Who were his parents? Why didn't anyone report him missing? DNA led police to a family living in Pennsylvania. Joseph's mother was identified, but detectives refused to name her publicly at first. His father had passed away years before, never facing justice or questions. The mother, according to reports, had other children. Yet somehow, no one in the family ever came forward. Why? Fear, shame, or something darker? Some relatives allegedly didn't even know Joseph existed. It's possible he was born in secret and died that way too. Investigators believe Joseph suffered abuse before his death: malnourishment, broken bones, bruises. The medical examiner ruled his death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma to the head. Whether it was one beating too many or something planned, no one knows. What's certain is that whoever did it tried to erase him, washed his body, cut his hair, left him in that box as if he were disposable. But fate didn't allow him to be forgotten. His image, his story, his mystery stayed alive long enough for justice to knock again. Even now, police are still piecing together the final puzzle. They know who he was. They might know who his parents were, but they don't yet know who killed him or why. Some believe the truth lies buried in family secrets, too dark to tell. Others think the killer may already be dead, taking the answers to the grave. What's haunting is the thought that Joseph might have lived his short life surrounded by people who were supposed to love him, but didn't. Today, Joseph Augustus Zarelli's grave bears his true name: small but powerful victory after decades of silence. People still visit, leaving flowers, toys, and letters. The boy who was once nobody is now remembered by thousands. The mystery of the boy in the box reminds us that evil often hides in plain sight, and that justice, no matter how long it takes, always finds its way. So the next time you hear about an unsolved mystery or a forgotten case, remember this story, because somewhere in the quiet corners of the world, there might still be someone who knows the truth about what happened that cold February night, the truth that was hidden inside a box, and the boy who refused to stay forgotten.